So, people, we are back with the All Things Arsenal podcast, and with a different panel, with some different guests from this podcast. I'm excited. It is the new season is upon us, and we are a few days away, and tension is building. But thank you for everyone that's been sitting here in the waiting room. By the way, I've seen everyone. I've seen all your comments. So big up to all of you waiting to watch. But we're going to get into it. We're joined by Jez, Kenny, Diesel, and Northside today. This is Diesel's first appearance on the channel, so he's our special guest for today. And we're going to kick right into it, and we're going to be talking about pre-season first. It is over, it's finished, and it's been a successful pre-season campaign as all around. Really, we have won all our games, and it's been great. But what is the truth behind it? Does it really mean anything? But Diesel, we're going to kick off with you. What are your thoughts on pre-season and how we've performed throughout?
Firstly, Gracie, thank you very much for having me on. Really nice, nice of you. Thank you. I'm doing one tomorrow, and if you're free, please join us. Right? Yeah. Listen, it's a bit of a tough one because I went to the Arsenal game on Saturday, right? Seville, and so I got to see the reaction of a lot of Arsenal fans, and it shocked me in a way. So I'm not going to lie. I'll elaborate more on that later. But pre-season, we've had a good pre-season, if we're being honest. You know, it's gone the way we wanted it to go. We've won games, and we've looked good. But I'm one of them, and you know, I'm one of them people. And I said this to so many people on Saturday. You know, and obviously you get the negative word thrown at you, and it's not negative. I prefer the word cautious. I think that word is more relevant than the word negative. You know, pre-season's great. You know, over the years, Arsenal tend to have decent pre-seasons, For me, the true test is in the league. So again, just me saying that, I'll guarantee there'll be people watching this. Oh, he's being negative. It's not negative. It's cautious. You know, you don't get nothing for pre-season, as we all know, is fitness levels. That is all it is. It's fitness. Right, it's fitness, you know. Seville, we smashed them 6-0. We played brilliant football, but they were crap. Again, that's a negative comment, right? But I think in terms of, if we're just talking about pre-season, Jesus has been on fire. The pre-season for me counts in a way of, especially if you're a striker, I do think it's important to get goals as soon as possible, whether that be pre-season or not, because it just, for me, it sets the tone. And obviously, it's all about morale with a lot of these players now. So obviously, with Jesus scoring a hat-trick on Saturday, and he's had goals before that, going into the league, that bodes well for me. But yeah, as far as pre-season's gone, I can't argue. It's been a success.
No, absolutely. Northside, same question to you. What have you thought of pre-season? Does it really matter going into the new season?
I mean, I echo a lot of what Diesel said, to be honest. I look at it more for getting fitness and getting into the rhythm to compete at the highest level again. I don't understand why now, because I think we've had a very good pre-season. All of a sudden, it's become the measuring stick as to how far this team has gone. I find it crazy because never has that been the case, but anything that can be spun is always spun into, well, this is it. And I have been impressed with a lot of players, even Odegaard, a player that I don't necessarily rate. I think he's very average. I think he's effective when teams open up, not very good at unlocking, two banks of four. I actually think he played well against Sevilla, and you can only beat what's in front of you. I think all of us can praise the performances against Chelsea, against Sevilla, but we know that it's a different ballgame once the league starts. And when we've only strengthened, as in getting Zinchenko to fight with Tierney and Gabriel Jesus coming into the squad, which he's only got Nketiah to deal with. It's not really, we haven't really gone levels above. Once again, we've only got one striker that's any good, and we've got a left back fighting with another good left back. We still haven't tackled the issues in midfield, and we know we've got the worst midfield out of the top six, in my opinion. So, as much as it's been good, I'm not getting overexcited because a lot of areas of this team has still not been addressed.
No, absolutely, 100% agree. Kenny, up there at the top. What do you think? Pre-season.
Well, thinking about pre-season, the good thing, one of the things we've always sort of, like worried about in pre-season is that we're making our signings too late. That to a certain extent, that by the time you sign them, the season's already started and they haven't had a pre-season with a football club. Getting to know our style of play and getting accustomed to the teammates and, bedding themselves in and getting themselves fit. So for someone like Gabriel Jesus, this is brilliant for us as fans to know that, we've got a settled, front three that involves Gabriel Jesus and that he knows his teammates. He's trying to get an understanding with Martinelli and Saka. So coming to Crystal Palace, he can hit the ground running. That's what we've always wanted. So that part is really successful. Zinchenko as well, I don't buy the nonsense that, he's a versatile player. He's there at left back. He's played games. Tierney's not ready and fit. We get him in. Again, he gets to know his teammates. So that's the successful part of it. I'm only interested in players getting to know our system, getting in tune with their teammates and having an understanding which makes them prepared for the league. So, they're not learning their way as they go along. So that's the only thing I'm happy about. Obviously, people were gassed, looked at us. We had no injuries. We're playing flowing football. We're pressing. We look very fit. We've done it before under Arsene. We've done it before, even to a certain extent under Unai, and we've done it this season. It's no one new. The battle lines commence this Friday in SE25, and that's where we're going to, be able to assess his squad. But in terms of like everything else, no major injuries. Thomas Partey's fit as well because he is our midfield. Contrary to what people would say about Xhaka, I appreciate Granit Xhaka. I appreciate Odegaard, but if you don't have a complete midfielder like Thomas Partey alongside them, they won't be able to play because you're getting them to do jobs that they can't do. So keeping him fit is imperative. And as Northside says, we need to get another midfield in because if Granit Xhaka is still a mainstay in midfield, especially when you know he's got flaws and he's got massive strengths, but he hasn't got the physicality, you have to worry and you have to say it's not complete. So in terms of pre-season, it looks good, but and it's not just me being biased, we know from factual experience that over a long season, Granit's going to kind of cost us and let us down. So in terms of this pre-season, the form's not too bad. We need to get another midfield in. The right back is an issue. I can blatantly say categorically that William Saliba has caused Arteta a very good selection problem, but a bad one because he doesn't know what to do with Ben White. He just doesn't know what to do with him. He's going to have a major decision if Tomiyasu passes a fitness test either this Friday or next Saturday against Leicester. Everyone here knows this. So these are massive. We still got questions.
Definitely. Jez, same questions put to you. What are your thoughts on pre-season? And do you think it's going to impact the way we play on Friday and play further on in the Premier League?
No. Let's be honest. We played some bang average teams. Chelsea, Sevilla Chelsea weren't up for it. No disrespect to the American teams, but they are not Premier League quality. Sorry. And, the fact that Chelsea, we played in the Miami Cup, I watched that game. Gracie, you watched it.
Yep.
Even though we had an hour delay for weather, it was so lackluster from Chelsea. They couldn't be bothered. And I'm sorry to say, for all the people that are gassing it up against Seville, they looked absolutely pony. They were like, all they wanted to do was kick the lumps out of people and fall over. And I'm not, yes, I'm very happy with Jesus and Zinchenko. I can't deny that. But I'm not gassing it up. The big test will be Palace away at Selhurst Park Friday night. Let's see if Arsenal get a win out of that game. Then we'll see what Arsenal are really worth. Simple as that. I'm not excited about pre-season. I'm not. You know, it's what it is. It's pre-season. When we get back into the real football, the real stuff, Premier League, then we'll see what Arsenal are really all about.
Yeah, 100%. And I think all of you just summed up all my thoughts on pre-season. You know, it is pre-season. Teams aren't going at it as much. Do you know, if we're facing Chelsea in a derby in the Premier League, it's a completely different game versus pre-season, and we can't get too excited. We could be happy about it, and we're super positive about it. We're winning. We're happy that we're winning, and you know, it's a good feeling. It's a good morale boost as well for the players, the new players that have come in. They've been able to settle and be successful as far as like starting at the club. So overall, I can't complain. But you know, the big test is the Premier League. It's a different game to pre-season. It's a different, you know, fitness level. I will say, we've looked very fit throughout pre-season. The players do look physically. They look great. They're physical on the ball. You know, they're going in for those challenges, but you have to keep it up throughout the season, and it's going to be important to maintain that fitness and maintain like not getting injured, because it seriously could harm us down the road. But we're gonna move on from, you know, our summer of it, and we're gonna give our thoughts on one player out of the squad that travelled throughout pre-season. One player throughout the squad that we thought has been the best throughout, that's shown physicality, good mentality, has boosted the squad, all the good attributes that we expect to see in the Premier League. What, you know, who has been that person for you? Jez, I'll come to you first. So one player who's, you know, summed it up perfectly and has done really well.
Jesus scored in every game.
Yep.
I honestly think this guy, Gabriel Jesus, has got something to prove. And I think he was very, very frustrated at Manchester City. He's come to Arsenal. I think he's a major asset to the club. And I really think that he's going to do some damage. I do. And I know there's a lot of people think, oh, well, you know, he's a bit part player at Man City. Well, yeah, that was at Man City. He's now at Arsenal Football Club. So let's throw all that in the toilet. Yeah. Let's say goodbye to all of that. Let's give the guy a chance. Let's see what he can do. And I actually think if we could get Tielemans in this squad, who will feed him far better than Xhaka and Odegaard, this guy will score goals. But, Gracie, I will also put this on point. We cannot rely on him all season, because at one point he's going to get cropped. Right? And the fact, and I'm going to upset everybody this season, Nketiah is not going to be the boy. No. If Jesus gets injured, and if we do not have another striker to come in, then we have to rely on Nketiah at number 14 shirt up front. Forget it. Everybody's gassing it up. All the Arteta sexuals, all the, I hate this term, top gooners. It's bullshit. At the end of the day, Arsenal need another top striker. No player at the end of the day goes through a whole season without getting some sort of minor or major injury.
Positive thought.
So, you know, we need to big it up. We need to, let's get it right, because we need to strengthen that front three, if you want to put it that way. We need an attacking midfielder that can actually give service to that player. I've got no faith in Odegaard being captain. I think that's an absolute disgrace and it's a joke. I see people say, oh, he's captain of Norway. Well, who the hell are they? You know, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
It's not exactly Brazil, is it? I'm sorry. So, no. We need still to get in a right back, an attacking midfielder, and another top quality striker. Simple.
Yeah, 100%. Kenny, who was your player of pre-season? The guy that summed it all up perfectly. Who was he for you?
Well, the most productive player is Gabriel Jesus, and as Jez says, he's got a lot of proof from his Man City form, because what he did at Man City counts for nothing, and it's same with Shevchenko as well. You know, people just think that that if you play for Man City, you've got this sort of gold dust magic wand that if you touch them, one of those players, all of a sudden their players are going to be, you know, ambitious, and we're going to be a successful team. It doesn't particularly work like that, because they're an excellent setup at Man City, where there's a mentality where if you don't play well, you don't get in, because there's genuine competition for places. Gabriel Jesus is now the main man, and as Jez says, we're relying heavily on him to get goals. So we're going to have to wrap him up in cotton wool. And the same with Thomas Partey as well, that we're going to have to wrap him up with cotton wool. So for me, those are the two key players who for me, the little I've watched the preseason, and I ain't going to lie, I haven't watched the games, but I've watched little highlights and just for patterns and play. And it's those two players that I rely on. As Jay says, I have deep concerns about where the other goals are going to come from. I don't. Although Martinelli is a super talented, excites a lot of people, I just want goals from him. I still need convincing that he's going to get me 15 to 20 goals this season. You know, and I don't want to wait around for that sort of season. So I would like a striker. Eddie Nketiah, you know, we've had shows upon shows when he got his new contract, and it still, you know, caused me great condensation that he got it. I don't want him at the football club. I don't rate him. I don't want bit part players at my football club, and that's what he's going to be. He's signed a 100k per week contract to sit on the bench. You know, if he was a player that I thought was going to fight and fight Jesus for that place, I wouldn't be here complaining about the situation. And Jez is right about Odegaard as well. That is just more of a PR, you know, merchandise sort of thing. You know, he looks the part, the Milky Bar kid. You know, making captain. Is he a leader? I'm not convinced he's a leader. I don't care if he's captain Norway. Everyone knows that maybe in foreign coaches, they don't place great emphasis on captains. They tend to place, you know, massive emphasis on, who's going to get the most merchandise for the football club. Most captains now, PR captains. Is Cristiano Ronaldo a leader? By example, but is he a leader of men? Not really. Is Messi by example, but leader of men? And I think that's the way to go, you know. But those two players are going to be the players that are going to make a difference for us. Unfortunately, and we're going to get to us decision. I'm sure you're going to ask us where do you think we're going to finish? And you got I think that question should really go to most of our fan base. You know, the get along gang types in YouTube who try to get themselves on you know, regular TV, and also the positive types on Twitter. Not once have I heard them say that next season our aim is to challenge for the title. Not once have I heard them say that. I've never heard them say that we must win the Europa League, and that we must, like I said, do better away from home against Man City and our top six rivals, especially away from home. Never heard them talk about it, but they've gassed this season. They're very excited. Damn, what's their ambition? Because I'll tell you one thing: if they're relying on just Jesus and Partey, they're going to be very, very disappointed. Very disappointed, because that's just not enough.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And before we continue, people, please do smash the likes and subscribe. There was nearly 50 people in here just a second ago, so make sure you're hitting that like button, because we're only on 30 likes, and it does help to get out there. But Diesel, who was your one player? Who was the one guy for you during pre-season?
Two. I'll be really quick. I'll talk fast, as you know, right? So, sorry, I've just got number one for me is Jesus. And I'll tell you why. I agree with Kenny and Jez. I saw him on Saturday, and obviously I've been like live, and it was really good to see him live. But also, what he brings he brings energy, right? Every time this player touched the ball, he is electric. He's sharp, and we've been used to Lacazette. You know what I'm saying? And as much as I get all the he works hard, all that rubbish, Jesus works bloody hard. And although Seville were crap, which they were, I'm not gassing that up. But to watch him, his quick feet, he, for me, set the tone. And what I like about the Jesus signing, and I said it before, he's come from a winning culture. He's come from a winning mentality. He's come from Pep, from a team who wins every season, or they win something, right? So, in essence, the man is a winner. Now, what I want, when a player like that walks through the dressing room, that should wake up all of the other players in that squad. So, the caveat to that is we've not just got one, we've got two of them. So we've got two winners who have come through the door. And what I love about these two players is, for me, there's no hiding place now for Miguel. Because these are established winners who are ready now. They're ready now to come in the team now. That's it for me. No hiding place. Can they, I think they're going to have good seasons. But for me, it's a team game. It's not about like touching on what Jez said. If he does go for a barren spell, Jesus, I'm looking at all the other players. We can't hang our hat on him every week. What worries me is that we will, because we've done this with Saka and Smith Rowe. If they have a bad game, then forget it. We're out the game. And that's what worries me. But yeah, Jesus, for me, I said it at the time, great signing and exactly what we need up front. And the second player, I have to mention him, Saliba. I'm telling them that honestly, he's a Rolls Royce, man. And I'll tell you what, I think I don't know if it was yourself, Kenny, or Jez, one of you touched on, like, he's given Arteta a problem. The comments that I was hearing on Saturday was a case of Arteta's now going to try and push Ben White at right back, because I can't see how Ben White's going to overtake Saliba. That Saliba and Gabriel, they just look so good together. And to be honest, a lot of us Arsenal fans were calling out, because I've got a thing about tall, physically imposing play. I love players like that. And I'll tell you something, Saliba, every time I've watched him, I watched Ben White. I'm not one, I don't think Ben White's crap, but he's average. He's average. He's not good enough for us, right? I wouldn't say he's the worst I've seen. But when you look at Saliba and Gabriel, them two together, that is a partnership I see. Do you know what? If that develops, oh my God, that's going to be some partnership, right? And for me, I'm all for that. So if I'm honest, those two players, Jesus number one, and Saliba for me is number two. Easy.
Definitely. North side, who's your guy? Who's your guy of the pre-season?
Once again, man, I agree with Diesel. I think it's both Saliba and Jesus. I think they've made the most impact. Saliba coming in, and we're now seeing why, he was lauded up as, he won the young player of the season out there in France, and it looks like he's bringing that form over here to Arsenal. I was very impressed by him. Obviously, I've been watching more highlights. I haven't been watching the whole thing, so that's why I haven't been doing watch-alongs. But just watching the highlights and seeing some of his tackles, I'm really impressed. And I always said, I think most Arsenal fans, we want to just see, if he's good enough, if he's not in the Premier League. Gabriel Jesus as well. I mean, if he can replicate that form into the Premier League, but during pre-season, I think definitely Gabriel Jesus just pips it, because he's turned up in every match. Every match he's played, he's turned up. The composure, there was a finish that he kind of dinked it over the goalkeeper. If he can finish like that, I mean, we are in for a treat in terms of his output as a striker. The massive problem is when we put the players that are on the bench, the second string players, and we played them, played the second string players against Brentford. We saw why a lot of us are cautious in overpraising this manager and saying we're going to do this and do that next season, because they couldn't even beat a second string Brentford team. And these are players like El Nene, etc., like that, players that we've all said that are not good enough and haven't been good enough under multiple managers. And we see once again why they're not good enough, because someone said to me, "Oh, Northside, you said not to take too much over preseason." I said, "Yeah, but our second string, our backup players should be better than the second string Brentford players. Brentford only just come up. Whether it's a friendly or not, we should still be better than them. Do you know what I mean? And we wasn't, and we lost that. That was the game played behind closed doors. That just shows that away from the starting lineup, this team is very, very weak. It's not ready to compete in the Premier League. And there will be suspensions. Players will get worn out like Saka, etc. Players will get bookings and stuff like that. And these are the players that are going to come in to replace the starting lineup players that are not even good enough to beat the Brentford team. It's not good enough, is it?
No, absolutely. And I think I'm with my player of the pre-season period, I'm not going to go with Jesus. I want to, but I also want to recognise other players that, you know, may not have scored, but have really put in, you know, the hard work that I want to see. And that is Saliba for me. He came on, he's made such a difference in the back. He's physical, and the way he deals with pressure on the ball, I think, is just fantastic for his age. You know, he has something to prove. He wants to show Arteta he's not a reject at the end of the day, and that he belongs at Arsenal and he wants to play for Arsenal, not go out on loan. You know, he may have had his family issues in that last season, but I don't think that was the main reason why he went to France. I don't think Arteta believed in him. Arteta had Ben White. He was like, no, I don't want you. You know, so he has that fight, and I love the way he plays on the ball, and I think it's definitely a partnership that can develop very well. It's just whether Arteta will allow that in his squad selection, because we know he has favourites.
Gracie, yeah, can I just say, right? Do you know? I'll tell you just one more reason why I really do like Saliba, and I know it's early days, right? I know it's early days, but I genuinely think Arteta ain't keen on him. But Saliba's played to such an extent, Arteta can't leave the boy out. And I think that is why Arteta can do, he's the manager, he can do what he wants. But I think with this one, if he was to leave him out, that's where I think a lot of fans will pile the pressure on. And I think Arteta knows that, which is why he's hunting around thinking, where do I put Ben White? So, and I think it's the case of with Arteta, I'll play Saliba, it's pre-season, I'll give him a few. I don't even think Arteta, consider just how good a prospect because we've seen him in pre-season games, and although they're pre-season, he's gone above and beyond. Really, he's been like a Rolls Royce, and I think even it surprised Arteta to a point where he's like, I can't leave the guy out. I want to, but I can't. Do you know what I'm saying? So fair play to Saliba. You know.
Yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree more, and I think he's going to be key. I definitely think he's going to be key next season, as well as Jesus. I think, you know, he's going to do some serious damage up front. And I've watched every preseason game, and they have been early hours of the morning. So I've gone back and watched them because they've been so early, and I can't remember certain things because it's been so late. But last season, you could tell we were missing a striker up front, a proper striker, established striker up front, because it was like there was a gap. It was like there was just not a player there. There was 10 men. There's no one in the box in those dangerous positions, you know, chipping the goalkeeper, creating chances and moving into space. That's what he's done in pre-season. That's how he scored some fantastic goals. You know, he's shown up some goalkeepers big time with the goals he's scored. And it's just getting into those small positions, and I think that's going to be key, because it's something that last season we didn't have. It's the small details for me as well. It's moving into that space slightly, creating play outside the box, but then running straight in. Something we haven't had last season. So I definitely think it's going to be a big, you know, attribute to the team. But we're going to move on. That is the past, and we're going to talk about a bit about the future, which is this season, which does kick off on Friday. And before we get into it, me and Jez will be doing a watch along here on my channel. Is the first one, and we will be starting 10 minutes before kickoff. So it's 7:50 p.m. on Friday. We'll be going live and kicking off the watch along. We're excited for it. And it's gonna be the first time me and Jez have done a watch along together, and it's gonna be fantastic, absolutely. So please come and join in. There's nearly 50 people in here right now, so if you're not subscribed, please do. We're hitting close to 1K, and a lot is coming this season. I have so much planned. The channel is currently going under a makeover, so I've got some Connor CMO, the graphic designer. He's working on some stuff for me. I'm working on stuff, as you've seen, from thumbnails, etc. So, you know, stay tuned because it's going to get interesting this season. But Friday, Crystal Palace away at Selhurst Park. It's not going to be an easy game, and but I think we're going to win it. That's my opinion. But we'll go around and get some predictions shortly. But Jez, we'll come to you first. Selhurst Park. It's not an easy place to play. How do you see us doing, and in terms of also the lineup that we're going to go with? Do you think it's going to be very much like we saw, you know, against Sevilla? Do you think that's our Premier League lineup, and that's how we're going to start Friday?
Well, Gracie, I seriously hope so. I want to see that lineup. I really do. If Arteta decides to do something totally controversial, then that proves the guy's an absolute idiot. He's proven that we have a decent lineup that can do serious damage. So we need to start with that lineup. And that's it. There's no question. My prediction, Gracie, in that game is Arsenal 1, Crystal Palace 1. I'm still not going to be convinced by our midfield. I think we've got a great striker in Jesus. We've brought back a very good central defender in William Saliba. So, that's my prediction, 1-1. And if we get a 1-1 start, early start to the season, okay, I'll go with it. And that's my prediction.
Absolutely. Northside, we'll come to you next. Switch it up a bit. What do you think the score's going to be? Do you agree with Jez on the lineup situation, or would you change anything from what we've seen against Sevilla and that kind of lineup that looks like would be our strongest team?
I agree with Jez. I was predicting a 1-1 draw as well, because they're not going to open up. And this is where I feel like Odegaard is not very effective. But not just Odegaard. Also, we don't have a deep line playmaker that can transition the ball from defense to attack very quickly. If you come up against a team like Crystal Palace, that they know their formation, they keep it very rigid, and they're hard to break down, you need to transition very quickly. Xhaka is not that player. He's too slow on the ball. Yes, he's been decent in preseason, but when the league starts again, we're going to see his deficiencies. And his major deficiencies is being able to pinpoint the right pass, transitioning fast enough, do you know what I mean? And get the ball rolling, get our attack rolling. Because when Crystal Palace are on the attack, we need to hit, that's when we need to counter very fast. And I think Xhaka, I'm not convinced. And it's been seasons that we've seen Xhaka not being good enough in that midfield. And that's where I feel like a lack of progression in the Tielemans deal, or if we want to go for Maddison or any players like that, that's going to affect us in this type of game against teams that set up two banks of four, stay very rigid and compact, and we don't have a midfielder that can open up a defense. Do you know what I mean? And that is my problem. This is where I don't see us being able to beat Palace. This is why we struggled. We have struggled in recent times. Since Vieira's been at Crystal Palace, we've struggled against Palace. Do you know what I mean? And the two times that we met them, I think we're still yet to win against Palace. So I can't see past the 1-1 draw. I definitely think we'll be up for it. They'll be up for it. But I don't see, people always say that the game is won in midfield. And our midfield just, for me, isn't good enough. It really isn't. Is Fabio Vieira any good? If he is, how come Odegaard looks like he's getting the captaincy? That will tell me that Odegaard's going to start. I already know Odegaard doesn't perform well against teams like Crystal Palace, in my opinion. So, yeah, it's one of them ones. Hopefully, Gabriel Jesus can give a good performance. But for me, I'm going for a 1-1 draw.
Nice one. I'm just going to pull up this comment here because I feel like it fits in well, and then we'll continue. But Luca here says we need to win the first game of the season to send a statement. If we lose the first game and don't get off to a good start with 5 winnable games, then we haven't improved. I think that's meant to say, but Arteta and people will think we have. So I think that sums up how I'm feeling about it. It's for me, we have to win. We have to send out that statement, and we should be winning the first game of the season, and we have got a good run. I think we couldn't get a better run out of what we're starting with. So we have to make the most out of it, because if we don't, it sends a very bad message, and we don't want to be losing the first 3 games of the season again, because fans won't be having it anymore. I think tension's quite high, and Arteta spent too much money now, and fans are going to get fed up if we start seeing like we did on the first 3 games last season. But Diesel, I'll come to you next. What are your predictions on Friday, and how are you feeling about the lineup?
Yeah, see, this is what makes me laugh with a lot of Arsenal fans, because a lot of them are gassing up this pre-season. They're giving the transfer window a 10 out of 10. 400 million has been spent. Yet when you ask them about, well, what do you think of Palace? Oh, tight. And you think, well, hang on a minute. It's been a 10 out of 10 windows. 400 million, by the way. We've got the best striker in world football. We're going the way to Crystal Palace, who, if we're being honest, ain't a great team. And all I'm getting is, hesitancy. Well, the two don't marry up for me, right? So the first 11 we saw against Seville on Saturday, I believe that is Arteta's preferred 11. That's what I think he's going to go into Palace, to Palace with. I think Northside's right. I think the way Palace play, it depends on what we see. For me, like we saw a lot of this with Odegaard last season, right? They've had a whole pre-season. Now, you would expect any manager would have done their homework, looked at the, deficiencies we had last season, and they've got the whole of pre-season to put that right, or to put in a plan B. So when we play teams like this, let's switch it up. Let's do this rather than what we have been doing. So I'm very intrigued to see what's different about Arsenal this season, because we will come up against teams like this who like to sit back and hit us on the counter, right? Wilfried Zaha is probably going to turn up like he always does against us. For Arsenal to get anything out of this game, for me, we have to start the minute that whistle goes, right? And also because I think the longer it stays 0-0, the more Palace will grow into it. I think we'll have possession and stuff like that. It's what we do with that possession. And also, like I keep saying, the way they embarrassed us last season, Palace. For me, that is Arteta's team talk done. Show them clips, or force them players to watch that video of that match last season. That should be the team talk done. These players should be pumped up to go there and put right what they did to us last season. Now, and again, it's like I keep saying as well, and I know you guys have said it as well, there's no point having a great strike force like Jesus and a decent defence. For me, the midfield is the engine room of anything, of any side. If the midfield, if the heartbeat of the team isn't great or right, Jesus up front doesn't matter. Saliba at the back doesn't matter. It's all about that midfield. Xhaka was slow when he first got here. He's getting slower. The league's getting faster. He's getting older. He's not getting far. He's slowing down, with every year that goes by. So, again, that is an issue. But I don't want to keep coming across as negative, like people, keep telling me. I initially went for a Palace 2-1. And I've just got a feeling, because we never start the season well, I'm hoping, I don't think, if we get a draw, all right. But then I think with the investment that's gone into the team and the way people have hyped us up, I'm expecting Arsenal to be blitzing these boys 4 or 5-0, if I'm honest with you. That the reality is I can see Palace bullying us again. And if they have, then this pre-season counts for nothing. Nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Kenny, to wrap it up, we're going to wrap it up here shortly. But to wrap it up, what's your prediction? I believe you're going to the game. And what your thoughts and feelings around that?
Oh, I'll certainly be going. I do love my... late evenings in SE25 in Croydon. The food's nice. bit of a ghost town at times. There's not much amenities of any fault. Nice little gym there that I won't go to but in terms of the game, I had a bit of sneaky peek at Crystal Palace, and they look really strong. You know, everyone thinks they're going to suffer because of Conor Gallagher not going back to Chelsea, but you know, Eze's back from fitness. He had a whole season off. He's back playing. You know, even though they've been playing teams of similar sort of fitness to us, you know, they look like a very, very set side. And as people have said, I've got massive worries about our right hand side with players like Tarek Mitchell, the left back, who had a good season last season, and Sahara as well. On the overlap, I'm not convinced that that Saka's going to give us much protection there. That we're going to have to be on the front foot first, them to be occupied by Saka, because Saka's not on the front foot and we're getting occupied. I can see that's where Palace can hurt us. Another thing as well, if this is going to be a massive, massive interruption and a bit of a reality check for William Saliba, because Palace have got some physical players and players who can good runners as well. People like AU, they got Edouard, and also they got Mateta as well. So they've got the physicality and the runners of Edouard, who's a bit physical as well, but AU as well. See, that's going to be a massive, massive test for William Saliba, or whoever's in the centre half position, and the midfield as well. Granit Xhaka's got to be at the races, but we've got to be really, really fit. And Thomas Partey has to be fit for that game, because he's not fit. You know what happened in the games at the Emirates and the game last season at Selhurst Park? Their midfield murdered us. They murdered us, outrun us. So that's an issue where you're going to get a reality check about the pre-season. As everyone says, teams were not up for it. Palace are going to be up for it. Their first game of the season, intimidating atmosphere. It was on TV on Sky. They got a nation to impress. We're really, really going to be in a game. So my prediction is that, saying all of that, if we play the perfect game and we meet the challenge, then I can see us winning it 2-1. But I concur with everyone who thinks it's going to be a draw, because Palace is so difficult to beat and they're going to be so up for it. And there's still areas where we can get exploited, particularly down right-hand side with, Benjamin White. If he's not fit, even if Tomiyasu was fit, he would have struggled against Palace's strong left attacking options. And then William Saliba as well. This is where he has to earn his money. Everyone says he looks like $1 million and that he's a second coming. But this is where he's got to prove his manager wrong. And it's not. This is just because there's going to be a lot of games away from home, like Palace, where you've got to show your bottle, mate. Because trust me, the physicality of Palace's forward line, especially at set pieces, the crosses go in as well. Let's see what you're made of, son.
Absolutely, Kenny. I agree with you, and I'm sticking with my guns. I'm going to a 2-1 Arsenal win, and I think Jesus and Saka will be the goal scorers of that. But we are going to wrap it up here, people. Thank you for everyone in the chat. There's just been so many comments. I haven't been able to put them all up, so if I've missed it, apologies. But big thank you to all of you on the panel for coming on. Jez, a massive thank you to you as well. I know you're away right now and you've taken time.
I was thinking, where is he? He's not in his usual spot, Jez. What's going on?
No, wife and I are away, and we went to Highclere Castle today, Downton Abbey place where it's filmed. Oh, hang on, the wife's talking. And
where's your romantic you?
We're staying at a fabulous.
No chance.
Oh, good Christ!
Exposed.
We're staying at a fabulous little pub down the road, and it's a lovely, lovely little place. And we've got a great menu, great wine night.
I drank too much.
Oh, she. There we go. You want to come and show yourself on
there
camera?
We go.
Here she comes.
I'm on the stream. Come on, darling. Come on.
Here she is.
Hello.
Jay, punch him.
Right, listen here. It's my show. Right, we're going back.
There we go. We've had a great day. We're going to have a great night. We're going for a great meal in a minute. And Gracie-Mae, great show tonight. Lovely, awesome.
Great girl.
Yeah, you, mate. Honestly, your show is awesome, and you will very, 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 very soon be smashing it. Awesome, Kenny Ken. I'll be speaking with you very soon. Diesel, I'll be seeing you on Wednesday night. Northside, mate, your content is unbelievable. Love it.
Thank you. Thank you.
I could second that about everyone as well. Gracie, this is brilliant. I loved it. Diesel, it's always good to talk to you.
Nice one, mate.
And Jez, always, we speak a lot. Northside, I must say, I know this sounds cheeky, right? But I beat an Arsenal Fan TV member on views when my interview got more. My views were bigger than Stricto's, and he's on AFTV, so I beat Stricto on views on your channel. Yes, I beat him by 3,000 views. Yes.
There we go, people. To save time, because I know Jez, you have to get off to dinner and that. I'm putting all of your links in the description. So if you're watching it on playback, go check out everyone, their Instagram, their channels, everything, just amazing. So please go over there, subscribe and check it out. Please tune in on Friday to the watch along. It's going to be funny and you're not going to want to miss it, trust me. And let's hope for the win and not a loss. But big up to all of you. Thank you for everyone that's put in the comments. There's been about 50 people here throughout the whole stream. So that's amazing. So thank you all, and catch you again soon, and Arteta out.
Arteta out.
Yeah,